Hi students, today we're going to learn how to take our clay that we wedged last week and turn it into a slab. A slab is a large, flat piece of clay. So in order to do the next steps, you're going to need to get your clay out, undouble bag it, and you're going to need a couple of things. The first thing you're going to need is a large pink mat located in the cabinet in the back of the room. This needs to go on the table, and you will put your clay in the center of this mat, and this is to ensure that it doesn't stick to the table. If you were to roll this clay directly on the wood table, it would completely stick and you wouldn't be able to get it up. So you're going to need to grab one of these mats. Also in the back, near the wedge boards, you can find something called roller guides. This is a roller guide. A roller guide is simply two pieces of wood that are the same width, okay? And they are labeled the same color because they are the same. So what you don't want to do, don't get a purple one and a green one. Get two of the same color. This is going to ensure that your slab is all the same width when you roll it out, which is very important that we have even slabs. All right, you have some choices when you choose your slab roller guides. You can go with this light green. You can go with purple, which is a little bit thicker, or you can go with orange, which is super thin. Okay, so in order it goes orange is the thinnest, the light green is next, and then your purple is the thickest slab. There are other colors back there, such as turquoise and black. I want you to avoid these because they're just going to be a little bit too thick for this project. All right, so go ahead and select which type of roller guide you want to use. I'm going to go ahead and go with the green. The next thing you're going to need to have at your table is a rolling pin, and this is going to enable you to actually roll out the clay. Okay? I want you to help your neighbor. There isn't enough for everyone to do this at once, so one person at your table can work while the other person can help you along with getting your slab. Look at my setup here. I have my piece of clay. It is in the middle of both of my roller guides, and you might take a notice that I have two heavy objects. There's a water bottle, a spray bottle on this side, holding my mat down so it doesn't just curl back up into the center. And your partner can help you or hold the mat for you as well. Okay. Once we have everything set up, it's time to grab our rolling pin. The very first thing we're going to do is smash our clay by hitting it with the rolling pin. Okay, this is going to help us in the long run get our clay nice and flat. Once we've hit it a couple times, we're going to go ahead and turn it in the opposite direction and hit it vertically. I'm going to go ahead and turn it completely upside down, and I'm going to do the same thing. Just lightly taps, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and do it vertically as well. All right, once I have it flattened a little bit, it's time to go ahead and roll. When I roll my clay, my goal is to roll it out as far as I can, so we want the clay to not move any longer. All right, so I need to stand up while I'm doing this. You cannot do this while you're sitting. And you're going to roll it out. So give it a few rolls vertically, and then I want you to pick the clay slab up. You might have to move the roller guides out a little bit. Pick it up and turn it horizontally. Still making sure that we are in between the roller guides. Okay? And we're going to continue to roll. It's very important that you flip your clay and do this both horizontally and vertically. We want to maximize the amount of clay space that we have so that our slab can be as big as possible. Okay, this does take quite a bit of force and strength. Okay? So really press down, use your legs. I'm going to go ahead and pick my slab up again. I'm pretty close to being done. But you'll notice as I continue to push down and roll that my clay is still moving and spreading outward. And what that's telling me, and you can see it right here, is that my clay is not even and not down to the roller guides quite yet. So I'm going to continue to push until my clay no longer continues to spread. As long as it's spreading, we know it's not even. I have like a lot of clay that's like extra here. I might just tear some of this off. I'm not going to even be really needing that or using that. At this point, you can go ahead and remove your roller guides, and you can get rid of your rolling pin as well. Now we have a nice big slab. What we're going to do is you're going to need to get a sponge. This is a sponge. This is also a sponge. And this is a sponge. Any three of them will work. Either of them will work just fine. I'm going to use the round one. You will also need a rib. A rubber rib will work best, and you'll see those over there with the rest of the ribs. Get one that is rubber. It's not real flexible, and it will be perfect for smoothing out your slab. You'll notice at every table in the center there's a water bottle. Okay. You'll also notice that there's a large sponge. Do not use this sponge for smoothing out your clay. This is for cleaning up the table. So this needs to stay in your bucket. Other sponges are over with the tools by the sink. Okay. So you can take your spray bottle, and I tested to make sure everybody's spray bottle worked. And just lightly, don't douse it, mist lightly your clay slab. Okay? In which case, you're going to take your rib, and you're going to lightly, barely putting any pressure really at all, I'm going to smooth out the surface. You can see where I have some chunks there that I'm going to smooth out. I'm going to smooth out the surface of my clay. It's going to make it nice and smooth. I'm going to then go back over it with my sponge. That's also slightly damp. I wet mine in the sink, but you can also just take your spray bottle and wet it a little bit. Again, we don't need to douse our clay in water. A little bit of water goes a long way. And the edges aren't super important. We want to make sure that more of the center area of our clay is nice and smooth. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and pick my slab up very carefully, and it should not stick to your piece of canvas. That's the whole purpose. And I'm going to go ahead and flip it on the back. Okay, you can see I got a little tear here. No worries, I'm just going to go ahead and tear that off. Add it to my other ball of clay. And I'm going to do the same thing to the back. Lightly mist. And I'm going to take my rib. You can see there's like a crease here from where the mat was rolled. I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm going to continue to get my slab nice and smooth. And then I'm going to take my sponge and I'm going to smooth it out. All right, at this point, my slab is ready to move on to the next step. Once our slab is finished, we are going to store it for tomorrow so that everybody has a chance to work through the slab making process, and you can help your neighbor get finished as well. But back in the cabinet underneath the glazed tile board, you will find these wooden boards, and they come in lots of different sizes and shapes. You're going to need to find one that will actually fit your slab. So for example, this one, obviously too small for mine, but everyone's slab is going to be a different size, so this might work for you. Here's a board that will better fit my slab. And what I'm going to do, and this is very important, is I need to lay paper towels on my board so that the clay does not stick. Okay. And I'll say the easiest way to do this is with a partner's help. I would actually lay the paper towels on your slab. I'm going to put the board over top of my paper towels. And then I'm simply going to take my clay mat. I'm going to pick it up and flip the whole thing over. This is where an extra set of hands really comes in handy to help you flip. Okay, so I'm going to flip this over. and I'm going to be able to peel it off. And now my slab is successfully on my board and underneath paper towel. If you do not put paper towel underneath your slab, it will stick to this board and you will not get it off tomorrow. That is a promise. Okay, so now my slab is nice on my board, and one thing you might want to do is just kind of, after you get it on here, is I got some more little creases in there. I'm going to go ahead and work on re-smoothing this while my neighbor gets prepared to get their stuff out. I'm going to give it a nice smooth again with my sponge. And at this point, I need to make sure that my slab is nice and airtight for tomorrow. In order to do this, the first thing I'm going to want to do is lightly spritz my clay with water. Okay, I mean a light mist. Do not douse this thing. Okay? At which point I'm going to take a bag and I'm going to insert a bag in one direction. I'm going to insert another bag on top. Again, this is a time when a neighbor and a friend comes in handy with another set of hands. Okay, so someone's going to lift it up. And you're going to place it inside the bag. Inside bag number one. Looks just like that. You can see I still have my end sticking out. I need to take my other bag and insert it over top. Okay. Now my piece has been successfully double bagged, and this whole thing now can go onto my shelf, and we are ready for tomorrow's class. So we want to try to get everybody to this point today so that tomorrow we are all relatively on the same page. Excess clay from your project, this clay here can simply be put back into the clay trash can for a later time. So you can just take this, put that right back in there for further use.